Okay, we going now? Yes, we are. Okay, people here in class, just hang out for a second here. The people at home, sorry, I have to repeat myself because I forgot to record this. We are having our test on you guys are gonna have your test on Wednesday. People at home are gonna have the test on Wednesday over parts 1 and part 2. We're gonna review part 1 today. We're gonna review part 2 on tomorrow, Friday. Okay, so number 1, people at home, hopefully have already looked at your review sheet that I posted on Schoology. If not, do that now. Okay, we have to ask us to graph the equation and give the domain a range. So we have y equals -3, absolute value of x plus 1 plus 2. Okay, this is going to be V-shaped. Remember, absolute values are V-shaped. Now, just so you guys understand, number 1 on your test, it might not be an absolute value graph. It might be a quadratic, okay? But like questions 1 and 2 will be very similar with different numbers. But if we have to graph a V-shaped graph, the first thing we need to understand is this plus 2 moves it up 2 spots. This plus 1 moves it 1 spot to the left. Remember, up and down what you think, left and right opposite of what you think. Okay? And then we put a dot at -1, +2. Now this -3, that does 2 things. The negative, yes sir, flips it. Now, I want a rough graph, but not a really super ugly graph, okay? So what you need to do is this -3, like Garrett said, it flips it upside down. From this point, you go 1 right and 3 down, and you go from back to that point, 1 left and 3 down. And there is our graph. Okay? We went up 2, we went 1 left, this flipped it upside down, over 1. If this was a -5, you'd go over 1 and down 5, back 1 and down 5. If it was a +6, you'd go over 1 and up 6, back 1 and up 6. Okay? Yes, ma'am?
So where did the -1 come from?
This moves it left and right, the opposite of what you think. +1, 1's with the x is left and right. You would think it would move 1 to the right, it actually moves 1 to the left.
So it was -1 and then you moved it up 2.
Yep, -1 and then up 2.
And then down 3.
Well, from that point, put a dot right there. From that point, I went 1 right and down 3, and 1 left and down 3, because of the -3 right there.
Is it like 3 over 1? Like rise over rise?
Yeah, kind of like 3 over 1 and -3 over 1. Yeah, if you want to think of it that way, yep. Okay, now we got to talk about the domain and range. The domain is double bar R, all real numbers. And Kate, now if you're sitting there going, why is it all real numbers? Because this graph goes left and right forever. It's not just going down. As it's going down, it's fanning out very slowly, but it is fanning out, left and right. Domain's all real numbers. The range is not all real numbers. Range, you look at it up and down. This goes down forever, but it doesn't go up forever. The highest this thing ever gets to is 2. So it's everything under 2. Everything below 2. Remember, be careful here. Range is all about the y. Y is less than or equal to 2. It's everything under 2. It goes down forever. It does not go up forever. Any questions on this one? Yeah, this is not the question on the test, but there's going to be a question very, very similar to it. Okay? Number 2, same type question, but this is not a absolute value. It is a quadratic, which is U-shaped, what we call U-shaped ones, parabolas. Okay? So, this -3 moves it down 3 spots. Let me put a dot right there. Be careful, that 5 does not move it at all. Okay? It only moves when you add or subtract. It stretches it. Why does it stretch it?
Because it's larger than
It's a larger one. It's going to stretch it vertically. And if it stretches vertically, it's going to make it look a little thinner. Okay? So, just a quick rough graph, something like that. And it opens up because that 5 is positive. If that was a -5, it would still stretch it, but it'd flip it upside down. Okay? All right. And the domain in range. Well, the domain is also all real numbers because that also goes left and right forever. It's going up, and it's going up pretty fast. But it is very slowly going to the left and to the right forever. Now, is the range also all real numbers? Does it go, you don't look at it left and right, up and down. What's that?
anything above -3.
Right. So range, y has to be bigger than or equal to -3. It's everything above -3. Now, sometimes students wonder, how come this one's less than? How come that one's bigger than? This one's less than because it goes down. That one's bigger than because it goes up. Okay? Any question on the first two? Okay, let's look at question numbers 5, 6, 7. You got to knock these out of the park, okay? These are really, really quick ones, okay? Number 5, I would actually accept two correct answers on number 5, okay? They give you the parent function f of x is x. It'd be nice if you had a math teacher that could count, okay? How about these are questions 3, 4, and 5. I label them 5, 6, and 7. Okay, I mean, it's not, I don't know why I did that. So let me label those, it's not a big deal. Like we're not on question 5. It says question 5, this should be question 3. Okay, so, 3, 4, 5, okay, so, I'm gonna label it question 3 even though it says question 5 on your review sheet. It says f of x is x. That's the parent function. Now we have the new function, g of x equals x minus 7. So what is that minus 7? You can answer this in 2 words. What's that minus 7 do? Careful, not up 7, it'd be down 7, okay?
Everything with the x is up, so.
I'm glad you brought that up. Is that with the x or is it not with the x?
It's
No,
not,
with
because
the-
the negative is separate.
Okay, but I mean, if it's with, I mean, if I did this, if it's with the x, it's got to be in parentheses, okay? Does that alter the question, the problem?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's answer this problem. 3. Let's answer that problem. How do those parentheses alter the question? They really don't, okay? So is it with the x or is it not with the x? Kind of both. I mean, it kind of is both. I was looking for down 7. Now, you said if it's with the x. Gotta be careful though, you're not making fun. You're still wrong, okay? But if it was with the x, you're right, it's opposite, but x is not up and down. It's left and right. So what would it be?
Down 7.
Careful, it's gotta be left or right.
Oh, left 7?
Well, it's minus though.
Yeah, the left is negative.
Right, but it's always the opposite if it's with the x.
Oh, I thought you just said it wasn't the opposite.
No, it is, when it's with the x, it's always the opposite of what you think. When it's off by itself, like here, it moves it up and down what you think. When it's with the x, it's the opposite, okay?
So go right 7.
It would be right 7. So which is it? Is it right 7 or is it down 7? I'd take either one. I really would, okay? Because this, if I put parentheses around that, it doesn't change the problem, okay? So either down 7 or right, you don't need to put both. I'd take one or the other, okay? I would think most of us would say down 7, but I'd also accept right 7. Okay. All right. There's only one acceptable answer for number 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 4. Okay, if f of x is 1 and g of x is negative 3, in case you forgot, that would be a horizontal line. Well, if the parent function is 1 and now they moved it to negative 3, what'd they do? They moved it what?
Down 2.
Down. Ooh, not down 2.
Negative.
Down 4. Down 4. If you're at 1 above 0 and it drops to 3 below 0 temperature-wise, it dropped 4 degrees. Down 4. Okay, f of x is x squared. That's the parent function. G of x is 1/5 x squared.
It's gonna get shrunk,
Shrunk horizontally or vertically?
probably horizontal.
Well, now it's got to be, if it's, when you're multiplying by, I don't want to say
Oh,
this.
so then it had to be vertically, because if
Right.
it was horizontally, it would be a larger.
Right. So it's going to be shrunk vertically by a factor of what?
5.
Not 5, 1/5. Shrunk vertically by a factor of 1/5. Now, I don't want to confuse people here. I probably shouldn't even say this, but oh well. If something is shrunk vertically, you could have said what? If you squash something down vertically, it also is going to go stretched horizontally. I'd accept either one. Okay? All right. Now we're on number 6. Okay? Now they're giving you some functions and asking you to do some things to them. Okay? So I'm going to shut my mouth here about 30 seconds. I want you to try question number 6. We have f of x is x squared. I'm going to move it 3 up and 5 right. Go ahead and give that one a shot.
So are we graphing or?
Nope, I just want the equation. So what would that 3 up do? Would we add, subtract, multiply, divide by 3, or what and where?
Add 3 at the end.
Add 3 at the end, so we're gonna have x squared, then plus 3. How about the 5 right?
It's gotta go negative back.
So-
Subtract 5.
So do I make that negative 5x squared?
No,
No.
What?
that minus 5.
X minus 5 squared. So x minus 5 squared plus 3. What would have happened if I put negative 5x squared
It would
plus 3? Would it have still moved it up 3?
Yeah,
But that negative 5 would have done what? It wouldn't have moved it 5 right, it would have
lift it up.
flipped it and made it,
Go down.
okay, we already said it flipped it upside down, but the 5 makes it stretch, which would make it skinnier. Okay, that's, don't do that.
Mr. King,
Yes, ma'am.
I put the square with the x. Does it have to go outside?
Has to go outside it, yes, yes. Did you have like this, x squared, and then minus 5, and then plus 3?
Yeah, no, the x squared and
Oh.
minus 5 are in parentheses.
No. You got it, good question, you've got to have the squared outside the parentheses. That would definitely alter the equation. Okay, good question. Number 7, we have absolute value of f of x is the absolute value of x. And they want you to stretch it by a factor of, vertically stretch by a factor of 7. And translate it down 7 units, or down 4 units. Okay, so go ahead and give that one a shot.
Can we write it as like g of x, like for the,
Sure. You should. I mean, I wouldn't mark you wrong, but you shouldn't say your final answer is f of x is this, because f of x is that. So the new function shouldn't be f of x, it should be g of x or something else. So, but I wouldn't mark you wrong for f of x. Let's do the easier part first. Down 4. What are we gonna do if it's down 4?
Minus 4.
Minus 4 where? With the x or out here?
Up there.
Out there. And then if you're vertically stretching it by a factor of 7, yes ma'am?
It's 7 going from right there.
7 goes in front there. Okay?
Oh, so it doesn't go in the box.
No, then that would be horizontally. Okay? All right. What I'm very likely going to put on the board is I'll put this on the board, okay? On the board when you're taking your test, it'll say, okay, so it'll say on the board something like if you're going to reflect something over the x-axis, you change everything. Change everything. If you're going to reflect something over the y-axis, you change just the terms that have an x on them. Okay? So on number 8, we have f of x is negative 2 absolute value of x plus 4 minus 9. Okay? Now this is where it gets a little tricky though. Okay? It's a real short question, but it's a little bit tricky. We're reflecting it over the x-axis. So you got to change everything, okay? Let's try to not confuse people here. When I say everything here is really only 2 things,
The 2
okay?
and the 9.
Right. It's kind of like saying this. Let's try this. If I give you this right here, 3x plus 4y minus 7, how many terms do we see there?
2.
Not 2. There's 2 variables. How many terms? 3. 3x, 4y, and negative 7. What separates terms?
very,
What just generally separates them?
Pluses, minuses.
Pluses and minuses. If I give you this, 8xwy, how many terms is that? 1. But if I give you 8 plus x plus w plus y, it's 4 terms there,
It's like
okay?
a lot.
What's that?
It's like a lot of.
Yep. So, we have negative 2. This right here is all grouped together. This is one term. You might think there's a plus right there, but this is all with the negative. Between negative 2 and this is all one thing. And then this is something else because it has a minus. There's two things here. Okay? So, we change everything, which is 2 things. So, we're going to change this to what? Positive 2. We're going to change the x?
Nope.
Nope. We're going to change it to plus 4?
Nope.
Nope. That changes all of it. And then we're going to change the negative 9.
Wait, don't change the plus 4. Go
Yeah,
back.
I said don't change it, didn't I? But I did
Yeah.
change it? Okay, thanks. Thank you for catching me right then and there, seriously. I said it right and wrote it wrong, I don't know why I did that, okay? So, change this, change that, done. Okay, number 9. This one will be easier. F of x equals negative 9x plus 5, negative 9x plus 5. Reflected over the y-axis. So over the y-axis, only change the term that has an x. So what are we going to get?
Positive 9.
Right, positive 9x